Hello, hello. How you
Hi,
doing, Mia?
I'm good. Look at it, Sunday night and we're hanging out together.
Yeah, mixing it up a little bit.
We are shaking it up. Thank you for accommodating. I'm on the road right now because that's what we do. We just get out of town.
That is what we do. How is it? How's the weather down there?
Gorgeous. I'm in Phoenix and it's sunny and fabulous. This is the time to be in Phoenix, a little FYI for you travel folks, which is everybody out there.
Yes, it's nice and chilly here in Colorado. So
Yes.
you
Yes.
chose a good time to get out of town.
I did. I did. It's snowy and cold there. So, as everybody's joining us, you know what we love? We love for you to comment and tell us where you are and tell us where you'd like to go.
Yes, every comment counts as an entry into our $100 travel savings card. So feel free to let us know where you're from. We've got lots of fun Q&A. You can chime in with questions along the way. You can answer questions we'll have. We'll be giving away savings card throughout the live stream. So looking forward
Awesome.
to
And
hearing
that
from y'all.
savings card is for $100 towards travel, which is fantastic. If you don't mind, I'm going to pull. Look at this. We have somebody that's in Omaha and they want to go to Columbia. Nice. Hi, Peggy is here. Brooklyn Joe says hi to both of us. Thank you. Oh, Brett's in Phoenix too. Hey, hey. Hello from Michigan. Looking for good Thailand tips. Aren't we all, right? Minnetonka, Minnesota. We have some good folks here. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday night. I know it's a little bit of a change up.
Yeah.
So yes, so we have every comment does count. At the very end, we'll be giving away a gift savings card, and it's just based on the random number generator of comments. So the more you comment, the better chances you have to win. We have Chicago here. Somebody would like to go to Italy. Let's see, in Vegas, and hoping for the Caribbean next. Nice.
Greek islands. I saw a few Greek islands and Santorini. If you haven't seen it, type in Santorini, and we will send you the case study that we did with Stephanie a couple weeks ago. She's one of our coaching clients. Amazing. She shared just amazing pictures, videos of her first-class flights, her bungalows. She shared both Greece and Tahiti trips. So if you haven't seen that, it's worth watching the replay.
It is. And I mean, so we had, Greece and the Tahiti, and then she also had a bunch of trips in between. She has travel goals.
Yes, she is. She just got back from Hawaii.
Hawaii, yes.
And she was our first member blueprint. So in our paid coaching program, so everyone here is watching J Village, our free coaching program. In our paid coaching program, we have things called blueprints. So anytime one of us takes a really great trip for a really great price, we do a blueprint, and we show how we did it, how we earned the points, if we used points, how we redeemed it, all that stuff, so that our members can go and reproduce that exact same vacation. And Stephanie was our first member who did a blueprint. So now we've got a bunch of members going and planning trips to Greece and to Tahiti using the same plan that Stephanie put together. So kind of fun.
It was good. I was in on that one too, and it was super detailed. And I mean, it really gave us like you said, a blueprint for it, which I absolutely love. And definitely have people commenting Santorini. If you are interested in just getting some free coaching, just comment free coaching. We would love to talk to you about that. And talk about our free coaching real quick, Joel.
Sure. So we've found, now that we've got over a couple dozen, possibly a few dozen free resources, everywhere from beginner tips to intermediate tips to cash tips to point hacking tips. It's a pretty full library, and we wouldn't expect anybody to just go and watch it all. So although you could go to the guides section in our Facebook group and check out those things, rather than, weeding through all of them and figuring out which ones to watch, you can just type in free coaching, set up a 10, 15-minute call. We'll ask a little bit about your travel goals over the next 6 or 8 months, and we'll point you in the direction of one of our free resources that can help. So,
yes, and I see a lot of that.
Really, really successful.
It is. And I see a lot of people commenting. So we'll probably reach out to you tomorrow. I know it's getting a little later in the evening. So we're going to go back and watch all of this, and we will reach out to you to set that time up. Is that time with you, Joel? Do I get free coaching with you?
Sometimes it is me.
Okay.
We've got several free coaches, and sometimes it is me. It's always good to stay in touch with what our customers are looking for. So, this past week I made a bunch of free coaching calls.
You did. Everybody's fantastic. I can't believe our team.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'll kind of come back on that. Like, I'll share something about our coaches as well as all of these competitors' websites that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. We all have one thing in common. It's pretty cool. So with that said, let's dive into what we're going to talk about today.
You bet. Let's just say that somebody says they just got approved for the Chase credit card. Right. So there we go.
You know, and that's been something I was on a ton of free coaching calls this past week. And I would say about 80% of them are like 50-50. You know, 40% of people I talk to and I say, oh, you know what? Gosh, you don't travel enough to really warrant our paid coaching program. Here are a couple free tips. Feel free to do that. Like, there's with as little as you travel, you shouldn't have to pay a single penny for that travel. Like, here's how you can travel hack your way to free trips for, you know, that annual trip to Phoenix to visit family, or that annual trip to Cabo with friends. Like, there's no reason if you only travel once a year, you don't need our paid coaching program. Go and travel for free. And when you're ready to travel more, talk about our paid coaching program. The other 40% are people who do travel enough, and then maybe our coaching program would be a fit. And we talk a little bit about that. Today, we're going to talk about the two extremes, kind of like the 10% on either side. That is the people who aren't familiar at all with point hacking. They haven't got their first credit card. They know nothing of the idea of being able to like spend a couple grand on a credit card and get a free flight or two. And then the other extreme are people who are like, oh yeah, I know everything. I've already got like all of these cards, you know, all your stuff is basic stuff. And I actually want to address both of those crowds today. We're going to talk about the people who have hardly any experience with the points travel world, and the people who know a lot, but don't actually know what they don't know. And we're going to talk about that today.
It's a tough talk. I'm ready for some tough talk here.
Yeah, we had a little bit of that last week. We're gonna
we did.
we're gonna sugarcoat it a little more this week. But you know, so for the other extreme, the people who haven't ever done this, we're gonna sugarcoat it and make it hopefully easy to kind of think about doing this.
Yes, I love this comment from Rick. Congrats. We just got the second half of the 100,000 point bonus on your Chase Southwest card on your way to Companion Pass, which is awesome. And job, honestly, you know what I've been doing just to kick this conversation off? I'm down here in Phoenix. Of course, traveled on Frontier, so I got some great flights on that. And then I've been paying for everything with my Chase card. Woo-hoo. And you know, either people will Venmo me back, but I'm making, you know, a ton of points because I'm doing, you know, restaurants, and we went to the spa today. So I'm just putting everything on my Chase card and then paying it off right away because I'm responsible like that. Let me be clear.
You know, but I'm going to bring one of probably my most rewarding conversations up this week. And I talked with someone who was like, I've seen all of your stuff, and I went and I got the Chase card, and I've got 105,000 miles. And I said, and she got it, you know, several months ago. And I said, so wait, you got 105,000 miles. So like, what are you spending it on currently? Because 105, she got 100,000 points plus 5 for what she spent to get that 100,000 points. And then she threw it in a drawer and she went back on her debit card. And she's like, so what card should I get next? I said, what are you talking about? Like, stop spending on your debit card. Start spending on your Chase card, because those are the most valuable points ever. And don't worry about it. Like, you've got a ton of points. You don't need to go and like chase more cards. Like, just keep earning and keep spending on that card. When you go out to restaurants, you earn even more points. When you use it on travel,
I took Lyft to the airport back and forth. Lyft is 5 times the points. And I do see some questions in here. Joel's gonna get through the presentation, and then we'll will pop back in there. But that's such a great point. And you know what I did last week? You'll be very proud of me. And then we'll jump in. As I went through all of my bank statements as I was going through my taxes and realized there's so much that was still going out through the debit. There was automatic things. And I moved it all over to Chase. So proud of myself.
Oh, good job. Free points, free travel.
Yes.
So yeah, anyone out there, any Dave Ramsey fans who are spending on credit, don't get me wrong. We're not saying to use credit to spend money you don't have. You still always pay off that balance. It's never worthwhile to carry a balance because you pay interest and that defeats the purpose of earning points. But if you're spending money on a debit card, that's doing nothing for you. And a credit card gets you insurance. It gets you protection from fraud. It gets you all sorts of stuff. Plus, it gets you points that, as I'll show you, get a lot of travel benefits. So let's jump right in and talk about 5 different websites. These are competitors' websites that you can go check out and just start to learn more about free travel. I am a big believer that everyone should have at least 50,000 points per person in their family for just travel emergencies. And if you don't have that, it's like not having going to the trouble of having at least that many points is like not going to the trouble of getting car insurance if you're going to drive. There will come a time and place where you don't like the prices of flights or you don't like the prices of hotels. And if you don't have points, you don't have a choice. If you have points, you can say, no, thanks. I'm not going to spend $750 per person to just fly, 4 people in my family to a family emergency. You can use points and pay $11 a piece. So all of this is revolved around quit overthinking this. Get out there. Go get yourself some points if you don't have any. Make sure you have the right points if you don't have the right points. And protect yourself from those emergencies where we've all been. We've all been in that place where we want to go on a vacation. We want to go to a family reunion. We need to go to a funeral. And the prices are astronomical. Points solve that problem. So competitor number 1, the points guy. This is the most prolific, most famous, most known travel blogger out there. He's got 15 to 20 million followers, subscribers to his blog. And, he's been doing this for years, has a staff of, 20 or 25 writers. And they're all about points travel. So if you're not familiar with the points guy, I would say go and check it out. Subscribe to their blog, kick the tires, look around. They have points suggestions. They have card suggestions. They have a travel app that shows you which cards in your wallet you should be using for those earning multipliers. We'll come back to that later.
Right.
So it's a great resource for anyone who isn't familiar with the world of points travel. Now, go ahead and just write these sites down and come back to them later. In our paid program, the first thing I do is I tell people to stop with those sites because it can get overwhelming. But hey, if you're not in our paid program and you want some free resources, here you go. So tip number 2, this is also another blog, one that I've read for a long time, learned a lot from, and it's Upgraded Points. Very similar to the points guy. Different flavor. It's it's not nearly as many different voices. But very similar. Much actually easier to navigate because it is mostly focused on the points stuff. The points guy has articles all over the place. About airlines, about general interest about travel, and so on. It's a little bit more like reading a newspaper, so topics all over the place. Whereas Upgraded Points is, a lot more focused on points travel.
Yeah, and when you say prolific, you really mean it with a points guy. There's a lot of information out there that they put out.
And he has his own acronym. You mentioned TPG, and anyone in the points world, anyone who's familiar with this, you say TPG and people know what they're talking about.
Right.
Now notice also, you don't see it here, but the other thing I want to start to point out is all of these guys have, top partner offers. The points guy, I didn't use his home screen, but it's, all of these guys have like top 10 cards, 10 best credit cards to get. There's going to be a common theme here. We'll talk about that a little later. There are pros and cons to that, that you should be aware of when you're on any free site. Kind of want to figure out their motivation of how they are getting paid. So another one, this is the third of 3 blogs that I'm talking about, Nomadic Matt. So for the people, this is a little bit more personal, a little bit more story-based. It's some points stuff. It's some travel hacks. His business model is probably most similar to ours in the fact that he does have kind of a balance of point hacking stuff and just plain travel hacks, how to, find cheap trips and so on. So it's a bit more of a traditional blog, but again, it is, its primary focus is big audience, readership, advertising is how he's paid for the most part. Another great resource. Oh, good to see you, Katie. Glad you're back home safe in cold Dallas. Yeah. So let's see. Fourth. This is not a blog. This is a Facebook group, very much like ours. Award Travel 101. I've used this a lot. I learned a lot on this site years ago, and continue to learn on it. I watch it myself. The big thing here is, unlike a blog where you've got a structured order to things and so on, this is a Facebook group, and conversations are all over the place. The
and
big thing I want to point
almost
out,
76,000 members. That's a lot of conversation, I bet.
Exactly, and that's a pro and a con. And that's probably one of the biggest differences between us in Jagoot Village and them is we've got 20. I think we just passed 27,000 members. And so we're quite a bit smaller, but we're experiencing those growing pains where it's starting to get, a much wider spectrum of advice. And that's a good and a bad thing. So most of these sites that I'm showing you have everything from beginners to ultra advanced. In my opinion, and why I started my company, is that's a very messy thing. You get someone who's brand new to the idea of point hacking or travel hacking. And then you get an advanced member saying, oh, you just got to do this and then transfer this partner and then transfer it back this way and do this and that, this and that. And that's why 90% of people just throw up their hands and say, too much trouble. I was just hoping to take my kids to Orlando. And it's this one big watering hole with everyone, just every level of knowledge, which might seem good, but it's, in my opinion, that's what kept me from getting started, because I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like so complicated. Yeah. And it took me years before I finally pulled the trigger on my first card. And so probably the biggest difference between us and Award Travel and us and other community-based sites is that we intentionally keep it beginner level so that it's a safe place for beginners to get started. And then, of course, we have a paid program that is intermediate and advanced level. So that way our advanced people aren't overwhelming our beginners. So that's probably the thing to keep in mind with a big group like this. So speaking of big groups, another one, FlyerTalk, notice that they have nearly 800,000 members. So this isn't a Facebook group. This is a forum. And it's, again, if 80,000 members on Facebook is kind of chaotic, imagine how chaotic it can be with this many members. Now, I've participated in this. I don't necessarily recommend this for beginners because people get real snooty. You get the advanced people, preaching, and they all start like whipping out their wallets to show how fat they are with credit cards.
They're George Costanza wallets.
Yeah. And it's a lot of ego going on, and it's a lot of people asking beginner questions, and then a-holes chastising them for asking stupid questions. And it gets a little sticky. So the bigger the group, the less I recommend that beginners go and do that. It's great for intermediate and advanced stuff. But again, I don't know. I mean, you can ask some of our lounge members. Like, I'm pretty proud of the fact that we keep a separate place for beginners and another place for, our more advanced, more serious users. But there you go. So 5 sites. These are all competitors. These are all places that I learned and continue to learn. I still read most of those and pick up tips myself. I like to think of points travel as learning another language. Like so many people want to jump in, and they want to jump. Like, let's just say you don't speak a lick of Spanish. Well, you don't jump in at the Spanish 401 class and expect to learn anything at all by just sitting there listening to them talk a million miles a minute.
Right.
You start off at the 101 level. You practice. You do some trial and error. You graduate to 201. You graduate to 301. So keep that in mind as you jump in these places. And if something seems too intimidating, back out of the group and go find something that's a little more beginner friendly. Now,
I'm going to jump in. I love that you say that you're keeping the different groups. So people that are more advanced, you don't feel like you have to go back and keep recreating the wheel with information. That is such a great point. And then if you're feeling overwhelmed, you just sit in the beginner space. So I love that we do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's yeah. And so why are we talking about competitors? Honestly, a lot of my conversations this week, I mean, again, talking about those 2 long tail scenarios. We've got the 80% of the regular people. That's in the normal Bell distribution of people that we talk to. And then we've got those extra 10% on each end. The absolute beginners and the absolute advanced people. Most of the absolute advanced people fall into the point hacking category, which is not necessarily what we do. So, hey, if like churning and burning is your thing, if you've got a dozen credit cards in your wallet and that's your thing, our group might not be a fit for you because that's not what we preach. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But, I don't view any of these websites as competitors. I actually view them as allies. All of us are very much the same. We have one thing in common. And that one thing is that most of us probably started our blogs or our service because we were that one person in our group of friends who traveled more than everyone else.
Right.
And whenever our friends said, "Oh gosh, I wish I could travel like you," we latch on and we say, you can. And we try to share it with them. And then their eyes glaze over and they don't give a damn, because that's how 9 out of 10 people do. Like, this is a different way to travel, and it does take a learning curve. And I would be willing to bet that everywhere from the points guy to all of the other guys started those businesses for that same reason. I'm just speculating on that, but I do view it that way. And most of us, I would imagine most of us don't view each other as competitors because we're dealing with such a tiny slice of the market. Point hackers, in general, it's a tiny slice of the traveling market because 90% of people don't give a damn. They'd rather just not deal with it and pay cash. We think they're crazy because we're spending like 95% less than them, but that's why we started a business. So I don't view them as competitors. I view them as allies. So please go check them out. Bring feedback back to us. What I will say is we do things differently. Their way, what I call point hacking, which is how most people view this industry, is not a fit for everyone. Likewise, our way, point-hedging, is not a fit for everyone. We take a very different approach. I don't really associate us with point hacking because we don't pull out measuring sticks to see how thick our wallets are with credit cards. We're a lot more about efficiency. So let's talk about point hacking versus point hedging. That is a recent picture from one of those travel blogs out there. Someone who was talking about his 29 cards that he has
Wow.
active, the $4,700 that he spends a year just in annual fees for his credit cards. That's point hacking. It's not necessarily what point hedging is about, but let's flesh that out a little bit.
Okay.
So point hacking versus point hedging. Hacking, their major focus is on sign-up bonuses. Let's face it, the credit card and banking industry is extremely competitive. And basically, like, they're willing to do anything they can to steal business from each other to get your market share, to get you to stop spending on that Chase card and start spending on that Amex card. And the best way they do that is they buy billions of miles from airlines and hundreds of millions of points from hotels, and they buy them at a big discount. That helps the airlines and hotels out, especially helps during COVID, because they kept buying points so they could keep getting people's credit card business. And that kept, that helped with the airlines and hotels' bottom line. So then they take those points and turn them around and entice people to switch to their card. So point hacking, that's the major focus. I tried to grab a couple screenshots. I saw them just in the past couple weeks of like moderators of these point hacking groups saying, no, you don't get it. It is all about the sign up bonus. It's not for our world, but it is in the point hacking world. Their philosophy is why earn 2 or 3 points a piece? Why only earn 5-10 points a piece when you can go and sign up for a new card and get 50,000 points or 20,000 points or 100,000 points? Point hedging, our primary focus is we have a very minor focus on sign-up bonuses. Sure, every once in a while, a quick influx of 100,000 points is nice, but it's not what we depend on to fund our vacations. So again, point hacking, it's a kind of a given that you need at least a dozen, if not dozens, of credit cards. With us, you need 2 to 5 of the right credit cards. With point hacking, it's all about quantity of points. Sign up bonus, sign up bonus, sign up bonus. And they worry more about getting points in and worry less about efficiency of how much they get out of those points. With point hedging, it's about quality of the points. You don't just want any points. You want the best points you can get. If you missed our webinar last week, type in bad points, because I beat up a lot of companies and I talk about like, these are terrible points. And, there are companies that give 100, 150, 180,000 points where I'd take 50,000 points, 50,000 of the right points versus 150,000 of the wrong. So if you want to see a replay of that, just type in bad points and we'll send that to you.
That was a Joel Unfiltered show. I like that one.
Yeah. The gloves came off for that one.
Feisty Joel. Yes, yes.
So point hacking, this is, I meant to pull up the Points Guys site and we crashed my browser just beforehand. I might go find it. I'm going to go find it.
Okay.
This is worth going and showing. I'm
going to watch the magic happen here as we go through that. Thanks, everybody's commenting bad points. Also, if you want to find out about our recommended cards, you can comment that as well. And for comment-free coaching, we have all kinds of things we're offering you today.
So in the point hacking world, there's a big focus on average value of the points, which we do too, but we kind of try to pay attention to the bigger picture. So this is a recent article from 2 days ago from the Points Guide. They update this every month. And they focus on the law of averages. On average, what are their 15 million subscribers able to redeem points for? And notice that they keep track of Accor, Aeroplan worth 1.5 cents a piece, Alaska 1.8, American 1.4, American Express 2.0, look down here. Bank of America, penny a piece. Best Western, 0.6 cents a piece. 2 cents
Did you
a
say
piece for
0.6?
Chase.
Wow.
0.6.
Okay.
So just barely over half a point. Choice privileges. What's the other one we like to beat up on? Hilton.
Hey, Joel, can you make your screen a little bit larger? If you go up to the right. Joe, I feel you on that. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Oops. There we go.
Okay, thanks. That's great.
So notice that there's not a big distribution because we're dealing with the average redemption, and 90% of people don't have any idea that you can get much more than a penny or two a piece. Most people assume points are points and it's an average of 1 point something cents. Who cares? Just give me my gift card. Just give me my Amazon credit. Give me my statement credit. It's because this is what people assume is the case. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, well, then sure, you got to focus on quantity of points and just churn cards and get as many points as you can.
Right.
Discover, penny a piece. Etihad, I saw some. Hilton, 0.6. Wow. So, and these are just, but here's the thing. These are just general rules based on what most users redeem points for. But what if you could know how to redeem more and focus on quality points and only have to redeem in that top 10%? We've got someone who's going on a plane tonight to Japan, who she's then going to route down to Guam. But one of those flights that she's taking on her around the world trip is valued at 28 cents per point. In other words, she took, for round numbers sake, let's just say she took 100,000 points. She's getting $28,000 in first class travel value out of that. Beats the hell out of 0.6 cents. Right. So that's the difference on whether you focus on, do you focus on quantity of points, sign-up bonuses and churning cards and just getting points in? Or do you focus on quality of points, where your focus is not on just the value per point, but it's how much are you getting back per dollar spent? So every dollar you spend, whether it's at the car wash or at the grocery store or at the movies or on your utility bills,
yes,
how much are you getting back? Most people assume that's a penny a piece, but it's not.
And I think, can I comment? I think it's most people think that's all they deserve.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just like, well, that's just the way it is. And that's all we deserve to get. And I love that we're flipping the mindset on that.
Yep. So time for a bonus question.
Ooh. Okay.
So how do we get 5 to 25 cents back in travel value for every dollar that we spend versus 1 or 2 cents? What are the two methods that we talk about in the Jay Goot way of travel? So new users that haven't seen us, you probably won't know the answer. People who are repeat watchers, okay, I see one. We're looking for two ways that you get that. You're able to get 5 to 25 cents back per dollar that you spend on everyday stuff. Rule 1 and 2, you're on the right track. Not quite. Rule 1 and 2, real quick, has to do with rule 1 is find cash deals so you're not always dependent on points. So look every day for screaming deals that you pay cash for. And then rule 2 is have points. But within rule 2, there are two multipliers that you use in order to get 5 to 25 cents back on your everyday spend. So what two multipliers do we use on our everyday spend? All right. I think, don't quote me because I don't see it for sure, but I think Vicky got it.
I do too. Hold on.
Earning and redemption multipliers. So earning multipliers are at the grocery store. You might get 4 cents per dollar spent. A sign-up bonus is an earning multiplier. You spend $4,000, they give you 100,000 points. That's a 25 cent earning multiplier. That means that you're getting $1,000 back or $1,000 worth of points for spending $4,000.
Right.
That's a 25-cent free money. So those are examples of earning multipliers. Redemption multipliers are when you take that $100,000 and redeem it for a $10,000 flight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said $100,000. When you take that 100,000 points, and although most people think that they're only worth an average of 1.4 cents, meaning just give me my gift card for $1,000, if you sit and hoard those 100,000 points and wait for the right redemption, you can get $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 flights by just waiting and knowing how to find the right deals and hedging your bets and only cashing out your points when you can get those high values.
Hey, Joel, can you make that screen the full? Because I'd love for people to screenshot that. It's such a great, that slide to me just really kind of nails it all too. Of course, we have the bonus question, but I love the comparison you have there.
So, I mean, let's just talk about earning just a quick example. Let's just recap that. I go and sign up for the Chase or the Amex Platinum, which I'm not going to mention the sign-up bonus because I'm sure it'll change, but let's just say it's 100,000 points. So I sign up for the Amex Platinum. I got to spend $6,000. I get 100,000 points. So that's a $1,000 value minimum for spending $6,000. So that's I think at 18%. I'm getting 18% back in travel value from that one earning multiplier. Then I take those 100,000 points and I go find myself a $10,000 first class, let's just say $5,000 first class flight. I multiply it again. So instead of taking $1,000 cash back with a cash back card, I take 100,000 points and I say, I'm going to take that $5,000 flight. Well, then I just quintupled the value. I'm almost getting every dollar of my $6,000 back by earning multipliers and redemption multipliers and combining them because they compound upon each other. So
that's the piece I think that gets people. You leave out that compound interest, compound interest. Yes, and that's huge. Making money on money, and that's exactly.
So for anybody that's like sitting on points and just kind of looking at them and Amex says, oh, you can get your 100,000 points can get $1,000 statement credit. And all you do is hit a button. Don't do it. You're sitting on a gold mine of points that can be worth 3 times that, 5 times that, 12 times that $1,000. You could, if you hedge your bets just right, you can hold out for a very, very high value redemption and treat yourself to a first class flight that most of us would never dream of spending real hard-earned cash on. But when it's points that you can earn passively and easily through earning multipliers, no problem. So there we go. The answer was earning multipliers and redemption multipliers can take that average of 1.4 cents that 90% of the people out there are cashing out their points for and get 5 to 25 times that. So again, in summary, like point hacking, you see this term all the time. If you go on those blogs, if you go and read the forums, a lot of people say churn and burn, earn and burn. Earn the points, go and spend them. There's very little emphasis on efficiency. Our philosophy is a little bit more travel by osmosis. Our blueprints are a prime example. Like one of our members found a trip to Japan, dirt cheap, not a lot of points, told everyone in the group about it. Lots of other people decided to go and book a trip because that's what you do. You share a good deal and you get to become a better traveler by just mimicking what other people that you hang around with do. So, and a lot of us are traveling. Get in those groups, get in our group, doesn't matter, but get in a group and start to listen to, the what is it? The talk around the water cooler, hang out by the water cooler where other people who like to travel are talking, and you will pick up things through osmosis.
And that's what I was starting to say, that, I mean, and more people it is osmosis, and you do start traveling more often. And rule number 1 really does help people start. If you're looking for the deals, you get in that mindset of traveling a lot more often. And Brooklyn Joe, to answer your question, no, we're not going live tomorrow. We're going live today instead. We just wanted to mix it up. And here we are.
So let's just compare and contrast point hacking versus point hedging, which is a term unique to how we do it here at the Jagoot Way, with the Jagoot Way of Travel. So point hacking, again, we're talking about earn and burn, a lot of focus on just getting lots of sign up points. If you want to do an experiment, go join one of those groups and just ask the question, what card should I get? And you're going to get answers all over the place. Now, most people to start out will probably be on the same page, and they're probably going to recommend one of these two top cards, Sapphire Preferred or the Amex. They're also the most expensive, but when you know how to recoup those costs, it actually doesn't cost anything at all. I view both of these cards, high annual fees, as not annual fees, as much as just prepaying for expenses you already would pay anyway.
Great point.
So here's where point hacking and point hedging difference. If you go in FlyerTalk or in Award Travel or somewhere else and you post a question saying, hey, I'm just getting into the point hacking world, what card should I get? You'll probably get some of these answers. Then you get someone else that'll say, oh, don't do either of those. This one's free. Freedom Unlimited is free. Okay. I'd still take the paid ones because the benefits are that much better. But lots of people will say, yeah, don't pay annual fees. I got a free card and I've been using it for years. There are a lot of benefits that they don't even know they're not getting. So we're starting to get some misinformation here. Like, yeah, it's true. It's free, but it also doesn't have a ton of the value that these other premium cards have. Other people will say, oh, you got to get the Amex Gold instead of the Platinum. It's only $250 a year. Other people will die hard Quicksilver, or not Quicksilver, Capital One fans. Lots of Capital One fans.
Lots of Capital One fans out there. Their advertising, you can tell, they put a lot in advertising.
Yeah, they do a good job at marketing. So lots of Capital One advice. Then you get your cash back, people. Oh, my financial advisor says you always get cash back. Well, that's because the financial advisor doesn't know how to use it for travel benefits. I can take anyone's cash back card. I can take anyone's cash back card and outperform it with the right travel hedging strategy by applying it only when you can get those big redemption multipliers. And then you get people that are like, oh, I love my Delta card. I get free bags and I get status and so on. Yeah, you're paying for that status and you're paying for those free bags. Southwest cards. I love a good Southwest card. I have a couple myself, but there's only a specific use that you want those. Otherwise, they're very mediocre points and they fall into that 1.4 cents per point range. So the United, lots of people love their United card. Oh, I get free bags. I get free lounge access. Okay, sure. But not nearly as good as those other two. Then we get the hotel loyalty points. And if you want to see, again, type in bad points if you want to see me go to town on these guys. I don't care if Hilton's given 150 or 180,000 points away. You saw the redemption value that even the points guy says they're worth barely over a half a penny a piece. And you can't convert those into 5 or 10 or 20 cent per point flights. You're stuck with Hilton at less than half a penny a piece. I've seen them for a lot less than that too. Yeah. Then there's Marriott. The influencers and the travel bloggers love referring Marriott. You want to know why? Because there are 10 of them. And it's 8 to 10 Marriott cards. So most of these cards cap the number of referral points that you can get. So like if I refer my Chase Sapphire Reserve, I only get, 50 to 100,000 points per year if I refer enough friends. Well, if you're an influencer and you have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers, even though Marriott Bonvoy points are terrible value, even according to the points guy, they will refer the hell out of it because they load their wallet up with 8 different cards. And when they send that out to 100,000 subscribers, they get 800,000 points a year just from saying, hey, go get the Marriott card. No matter how crappy the value of the points are, that's not an insignificant amount of points. So notice that, when we're dealing with free blogs, this is one of the problems. Now, I'm not going to name bash. Like this is everyone's model out there. But when their entire business model is compensated from affiliate commissions or referral fees, well, then there's a bit of a conflict of interest of why are they recommending that card?
Right.
And that's the theme that you're going to get. Any of those blogs out there, every one of the owners will probably have a post where they show off all of these cards and more being in their wallet. Many of the members do that. You see tons of people comparing how many cards they have. And hey, if that's your thing, great. That's not what we do here at JGoot. But it's out there. Lots of people do it. They keep spreadsheets to keep track of all their cards. They buy special wallets. I have one, but it's pretty thin. And that's one route. The other route.
Can I ask you real quick the difference between what you're saying with their cards and looking at our recommended cards? Because I've thrown this out there. We'll send you a link to recommended cards. What's the difference between what you were just saying and the links that we have in our recommended cards?
So our recommended cards, if you either get our free guide, by the way, comment free guide, we can send you a copy of our free guide that talks about our recommended cards and why. Or if you type in recommended cards, we could just send you straight to the cards that we have. Difference between us and many others is we're not big enough to get affiliate commissions. But what we do have is our experts who are expert moderators, expert contributors in our groups get referrals. So I get points. Our coaches get points. Many of our members get points when you use that link. And the big difference is that we don't really recommend a lot of cards. None of our coaches have dozens of cards in their wallet. Some of our more serious travelers eventually get into that world, but that's because they travel so much and they get so comfortable with it, then they can start to venture into getting more than 2 to 5 cards. Right. But for the most part, all of our coaches just have a handful of cards that they use because our focus is on efficiency or quality over quantity. We want a few of the right cards. So before we talk next, what 2 cards does JGoot recommend? This ought to be a quick one. I sure hope it's a quick one.
I do too, but we know the answer, but it'll be exciting to see. Okay, let's see. Here we go. I can't see who the comment is, but
there we go. Okay, yes. Amex Platinum and Chase, and either Chase Sapphire, really. Chase Reserve or Platinum. And so, yeah, we will take Chase Reserve if that was the first one. Don't quote me.
It looks like it was the first one. And Brooke is here with us. We love it. Thank you. That was great. That was boom right there.
So yes, the beauty of this is someone can ask me, what card should I get? If you don't have both of those cards in your wallet, you should get one of them. If you already have one, you should get the other. These are 2 of the most flexible points, which is extremely valuable in itself. If you have a Marriott card, you're stuck with Marriott, or you're going to lose a lot of value transferring out of Marriott. Advanced topic right there. We're not going into it. If you have a Hilton card, you're stuck with Hilton. You got a United card, you're stuck with United. Or even if you can get on a United transfer partner, you're going to pay United rates. And most domestic carriers are much more expensive than foreign carriers. So why be loyal to the big 3 domestic carriers who are almost always more expensive than any foreign carriers that you could transfer out to?
Great point. You're right.
So by having an Amex card or a Sapphire card or both and diversifying, you've got Amex, I believe, has 21 transfer partners. Marriott, Hilton, Delta, and 16 other foreign carriers that represent extremely good value. Chase has Hyatt. We love Hyatt if you've watched us for any amount of time. Southwest, United, and 11 other transfer partners. So you've got a ton of flexibility, and you get to play the market. Anytime you see a phenomenal value, you can say, thank you very much. I'm going to take my Chase points, plant them over here, and I'm going to get myself a $2,000 flight to Costa Rica for my family of 4 for 50,000 points each.
I'm going to throw in that pro tip that we always
drop them elsewhere.
Yes, and we always say that too. When you are like for Chase, for example, and Sapphire, you definitely want to transfer them out. And I know you mentioned that, touched on that, but again, you don't want to go directly through Chase. You want to transfer those out to wherever you want to go. Correct?
Correct.
Like you want to transfer your points out there too. We did have a question. Cindy said, "What about Hyatt?" And you want to touch on that real quick?
Sure. So a Hyatt individual branded card is great, but why not make it a Chase Sapphire or a Chase Ink that transfers to Hyatt?
Right.
That way, if you want to redeem for Hyatt, you can. If you want to redeem at United, you can. If you want to transfer to Singapore Air, you can. You have the freedom. So all of those other cards have a time and a place. I haven't really needed them yet because I haven't run out of Chase and Amex points. By using a quality over quantity strategy, you really only need a handful of cards. And after these two, that becomes a very customized decision. Where do you like to travel? Is it domestically? Do you need a transfer? Do you need a companion? Like, there are 1,000 different ways you can figure out what the next card after these two are. But quite frankly, a lot of our members don't have any more than these two cards. And that's free advice. Like, you don't need to join our paid coaching program for that. In fact, what I tell the people who sign up for a free coaching session and they say, "Oh, I already have those cards." I said, "Great. Like, what are you doing to maximize the value of those cards?" Right. "What do you mean?" I cashed them out for a statement credit. Okay, that's fine. Let's earn you some more points and hold on to them and redeem them for much more valuable airline travel. So even if you have those cards, you go, "Yeah, great, I already used those cards." If that's your reaction, you probably didn't redeem them for exciting amounts of flight benefit, because Hilton points don't do that. They just plain don't. I mean, like, 1 in 50 times you can get a great value out of a Hilton point. You can get, when you practice a organic travel hedging strategy, you can get great value out of your points every single time. Because remember, the other part about travel hedging is rule 1 and rule 2. If you can't, we always look for great cash deals. And only when we can't find a great cash deal do we dip into our stash of points. So by having both rules in place, you can always pick and choose what's the best value. So you're never forced to waste your points for less than mediocre values, and you're never forced to pay cash if cash prices are expensive, because you have points. So rule 1 and 2, save the day.
Speaking of rule 1, could you throw out some of your favorite places to look for the best deals?
Well, we talk about that in our 10 sites video. We're definitely running tight on time now, so we don't want to necessarily go there. But if you haven't seen that video, that's a very good comprehensive list of several places that we recommend to look based on your needs. So there is no one size fits all. You might go to Google Flights, you might go to Kayak, you might go to Airfare Watchdog. There's your quick teaser on that.
I like that. I set you up for that. That's awesome.
So if you haven't seen our 10 sites video, it's called 10 hidden features every traveler should know about, on 10 hidden features on travel websites that every traveler should know about. Type in 10 sites, we'll send you a link to that replay.
Awesome.
I forgot to get a screenshot, but this is an example of what someone can do with one card from regular old spend. These are clients of ours in our coaching program who got one of the two credit cards. I'm not going to say which because it doesn't matter. Like they're transferable points. You can use them however you want. But they spent about $23,000. These are, and you know, they had a big expense coming up, so they timed it. They got their card in anticipation of spending a lot of money on it. They spent $23,000. Normally, that would be $230 in cash back if you got 1% cash back. It would be $460 if you get 2% cash back. Sure, there are places that get 2%. They took that 23,000 in spend, parlayed that into 420 some thousand points, and they took a vacation, business class. I think it was $6,000 flights to Dubai. They got 2,500 ish in hotels. They're gonna do a blueprint for us later, and this was all based on advice from one of our coaches from a trip they had done using points. So this is just an example of, you don't have to be an expert. You do have to know to hoard your points, not waste them. Let's just throw it out there. If you haven't heard our 2 principles video, type in 2 principles. We'll send that to you. That talks about how to know when you should use your points or keep them. It also talks about how to know when you want to snatch up a good cash deal. And when you know the value of both, you get to hoard your points for best redemption, and you get to snatch up cash deals whenever those are out there. Sorry, I don't have that screenshot. It's on the Facebook group. We'll dig it up later.
Yes, that is exciting though. That's crazy numbers. And I know it can seem overwhelming, and it's obviously in the advanced as well in the lounge. So don't feel like it's going to be something right away, but I love that. I mean, that's the best example of it. That's a tremendous example.
Yeah.
230 versus that. That's great.
I mean, I think that's a recap of, like everyone has their own approach to how they do this. And there really is, well, I think there is a wrong way. The wrong way is not having any points at all, because if you don't have any points at all, you have no choice, and you have to pay cash, and you have to pay what the market will bear. Maybe it's a good deal 1 in 5 times, but I'm willing to bet that 4 out of 5 times you're going to pay through the nose when you have to go to a wedding, a funeral, a guy's trip, a girl's trip, a family reunion. Anytime you have to go to a specific place, a job interview, those are all going to be expensive trips 4 out of 5 times. If you have points, solves that problem. So, but with that said, there's not a right or wrong way to go and get a lot of points. You could do it the point hacking strategy and get lots and lots of cards and churn and burn lots of sign-up bonuses. If that's your thing, that's great. And then you don't have to think a lot about efficiency. If you want to do the point hedging route, well, then you put a little more work into efficiency. You get 2 or 3 cards that work really, really hard for you, and you get 5, 10, 20 cents back for every dollar that you spend by just establishing some good habits and earning quality points, not quantity points.
Right. And that is a ton of information today. That was really good, though. We have a lot of comments. Thank you, everyone. I know Joel threw out a lot of great things that you can comment on. So definitely free coaching. We can talk to you about that when we have the coaching session with you. We have our lounge. This is the village that you're in. And there's a ton of information. If you go to the guide section on our Facebook page, and if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll post that in there too. So lots of good comments. Are you ready to do a random number generator and come up with that last gift card winner?
Sure.
Ready? Here we go.
Let's do it.
Do that drum roll for me. Boop. Oh, this is going to be an easy one. Comment 15.
All right.
That'll be an easy one to count
That
up.
was probably just right there in the high from Arizona's.
I think so. Exactly. So we'll get in touch with you and we'll let you know who won that gift card. And again, just comment free training, comment recommended cards. Again, if you're interested in our lounge program where all of these blueprint things that Joel's talking about, that's in there too. I can't wait for the next blueprint. That's going to be exciting.
And yeah, so I mean, the free coaching can be that. You can get free coaching if all that's a fit is our paid program. If you just travel a couple times a year and you don't even have a passport, we're not going to push our paid program on you. Nope. But we will point you in the direction of how to cut those costs so that you can start to travel more, and maybe we talk in 6 or 8 months.
Yep. And I love this. I have so many points. Definitely comment free coaching, because we can talk to you about that too. So, all right. Well, this has been super fun as always. And again, go to the free guide section. There's so much information in there too. And then we will be back next Monday, a week from tomorrow, with the same show. And then what's coming up in the lounge this week, Joel? Anything exciting?
This week is just, we're laying low. Last week,
Busy.
Stephanie dropped some bombs on us on how to get to Greece in business class and how to get those 5-star suites. This week is happy hour.
Yep.
So lots of members just hang out and share stories and share successes. We will also be watching Mira, who is starting her around the world journey.
You hinted to that earlier in the show, soon. So that's who it is Mira's going on her big adventure.
That, you know what the hell? Type in around the world if you want to watch that. It started out as a $40,000 luxury business class trip with 4- and 5-star resorts that she booked for under $1,000 for 2 of them. It's evolved. She says it's now $54,000 worth of flights for under $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
Flights and hotel around the world. Hang tight for that video. We will send that to you as soon as we can. I know we got a lot of comments, and I think we're probably going to get locked out by Facebook for all these comments.
Yeah, we do. After a bit, we get put in jail for all the comments, which is great. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Joel, that was great. Thank you. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks. Happy travels.